a leader of an organization, how are you not close with the stars of the organization? And the dilemma right now in the WNBA is that the star players, the Asias, the Stewies, the Sabrinas, the Caitlyn Clarks, they don't have a good enough relationship with the leader. The Nafisas, they don't have a good enough relationship with Cathy Engelbert. She came in and she wants all the credit for everything, but there's not enough communication between the leader and between the players. And now you got a revolt. Now everybody in the W is like, hold on, we want you up out of there. But I think the best thing I heard is, how can you negotiate if you don't communicate? And the dilemma is there's not even a negotiation, a quality negotiation right now between the players and between the W, because there's not quality communication right now between the players and between the executives for the W.
A shocking rumor is ripping through the basketball world, one that could change everything. Sources are claiming NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has secretly made his move and fired WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. While nothing is official, the whispers are growing louder and they point to a silent coup happening behind closed doors, all because of one player, Caitlyn Clark. This firestorm didn't just appear out of thin air. It was sparked by Cathy Engelbert herself, whose bizarre and dismissive comments about the league's biggest star reportedly set off alarms all the way to the top. When you have a generational talent single-handedly reviving your league, the last thing you do is disrespect her. But that appears to be exactly what happened.
Period. Reason I say that, doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you, taking conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said? And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I mean, I don't have the statement directly in front of me, y'all.
Mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
The rumor truly exploded when star players finally broke their sign links. Minnesota Lynx forward Napheesa Collier went public with a stunning accusation, calling the WNBA's leadership the absolute worst in all of professionals. She exposed a broken system where players are ignored, injuries are dismissed, and the commissioner is completely out of touch. At the heart of the revolt was a shocking comment Engelbert allegedly made in private. She reportedly told players that Caitlyn Clark should be on her knees, grateful that the WNBA even exists to give her a platform. This single statement revealed a breathtaking level of arrogance and a complete failure to understand the current sports landscape.
Well, let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO do you just put the base pay in there. You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlyn has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's a #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. Also, there's comparisons to the men. Those men's leagues are 75 to 120 years old. We're tipping off our 28th season. I would say if you looked at them 28 seasons in, we're further ahead. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do, and it's all about the ecosystem.
Let's be clear, Caitlyn Clark was a cultural phenomenon. Long before she was drafted, she was selling out arenas across the country, breaking viewership records on major networks, and signing massive endorsement deals with companies like Nike and Gatorade. The idea that she needed the WNBA is laughable. The DMN truth is, the WNBA desperately needed her. This disconnect led directly to the league's biggest crisis, the on-court treatment of its brightest star. Fans watched in horror as Clark was repeatedly subjected to cheap shots, hard fouls, and blatant physical targeting, game after game. The perception grew that Engelbert was allowing it to happen, refusing to protect the league's most valuable asset.
Thank you all for your time today. I have prepared a statement that I would like to make before taking any questions. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates.
But the physicality wasn't just random. It exposed a bitter internal civil war within the league itself. The Caitlyn Clark effect created a deep rift between the old guard and the new wave. Some veteran players seemed to resent the unprecedented attention Clark received, leading to a welcome to the league mentality that quickly crossed the line into dangerous territory. Engelbert's failure was not just in protecting Clark, but in failing to manage the explosive jealousy and tension that threatened to tear the league apart from the inside. This all feeds into the WNBA's undeniable officiating crisis. The refereeing has been so inconsistent and incompetent that it has become a running joke among fans. Blown calls, missed flagrants, and an utter lack of accountability have turned many games into a chaotic mess, and viewers are noticing.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlyn, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlyn should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
Instead of acknowledging the problem, Engelbert made things infinitely worse with her tone-deaf defense. In a public statement, she declared that the WNBA has the best refs in the world. This comment was seen as a slap in the face to every player, coach, and fan who had been screaming about the poor officiating all season long. The league has now reached a dangerous breaking point. With players in open revolt and fans threatening to tune out, the entire WNBA enterprise feels like it's on the verge of imploding. This is why the rumor of Engelbert's firing isn't just believable. For many, it feels like a necessary and overdue correction.
Lucky she's got a $16 million deal because of the platform the WNBA gave her. It is the single dumbest thing ever said by a sports commissioner in American sports.
It's absurd.
But Adam Silver's motivation likely isn't just about justice, it's about business. The WNBA's media rights are bundled with the NBA's, and a massive new deal is on the horizon. An unstable, chaotic league led by an incompetent commissioner was putting billions of dollars at risk, and Silver simply couldn't let that happen. Yet, this is also a legacy play for Adam Silver, who is playing a dangerous double game. Silver has carefully cultivated an image as a progressive, player-first commissioner, famously forcing Donald Sterling to sell the Clippers. The chaos in the WNBA directly threatens that reputation. He can't afford to look weak or indecisive while the league he oversees descends into turmoil. Firing Engelbert isn't just a business decision, it's an act of self-preservation to protect his own carefully crafted image. With Engelbert's future hanging by a thread, the speculation has already started. Who could possibly step into this role and clean up the incredible mess she's left behind? The league doesn't just need a new commissioner, it needs a savior who can restore trust and credibility overnight. Throughout all of this, Caitlyn Clark has remained silent, but this battle is undeniably being fought in her name. Her immense value and her future in the league are the central points of conflict. The league's old guard failed to grasp her power, and now they are paying the price for it. The public outcry from players wasn't random, it was a coordinated attack. When Napheesa Collier spoke out, stars like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull immediately backed her up. This was a calculated power play, designed to expose the weakness at the top and force Adam Silver to intervene. Ultimately, the WNBA's turmoil became a public relations disaster for the NBA. The league's dysfunction was making headlines for all the wrong reasons, tarnishing the brand and creating the kind of negative press that sponsors and networks despise. Engelbert wasn't just failing the WNBA, she was embarrassing the Shield. This wasn't just a niche sports story anymore. It became a mainstream media firestorm. Major outlets like ESPN, Fox Sports, and even non-sports networks were covering the drama daily. Personalities like Stephen Smith and Pat McAfee brought the controversy to millions of viewers who had never watched a WNBA game, amplifying the pressure on Silver 100-fold. When your league's internal chaos becomes a topic of national debate, you no longer have the option of handling it quietly. Behind the scenes, insiders were reportedly furious that Engelbert was squandering the Caitlyn Clark effect. The league was handed a golden goose, a once-in-a-generation opportunity for explosive growth, and her leadership was perceived as fumbling it away with every tone-deaf comment and officiating controversy. A toxic culture reportedly festered under Engelbert's watch, defined by a shocking mentality. She allegedly told people that only losers complain about the refs. This attitude alienated everyone, creating a system where legitimate concerns were dismissed and players were fined for telling the truth. This wasn't just a mindset, it was a policy enforced through a culture of fear, built on fines. Coaches were repeatedly penalized for speaking out. Indiana Fever's own head coach, Stephanie White, was fined simply for agreeing with another coach's criticism of the referees. This sent a chilling message to the entire league: keep your mouth shut or pay the price. It was a strategy of intimidation designed to silence dissent, but it backfired spectacularly, forcing players to revolt publicly. If the firing rumor proves true, it will send a seismic shockwave through the league. It would be a clear and undeniable message that the power has shifted. No longer can the front office ignore the players. Their voices, amplified by social media and a passionate fan base, are now strong enough to demand change. But even if Engelbert is gone tomorrow, the league's deepest problem will remain. The officiating is a systemic issue that requires a complete overhaul of training, accountability, and hiring. A new face in the commissioner's office won't magically fix the product on the court. It's a damning indictment of Engelbert's tenure that the biggest story in the WNBA is no longer the incredible talent, but the referees. When the officials become the main characters, you know your league is fundamentally broken. The game itself has become secondary to the controversy. And while the WNBA is in turmoil, rivals are smelling blood in the water, new leagues are waiting in the wings, perfectly positioned to capitalize on the chaos and offer disgruntled stars a viable and respected alternative. The threat from the unrivaled league, in particular, is very real. It's not some fly-by-night operation. It's founded by current WNBA superstars like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier herself. It promises a player-centric model, higher salaries, and a fresh approach. If Engelbert's leadership pushed stars to the brink, a league they own and control would look like a paradise. The prospect of Caitlyn Clark even considering a jump to unrivaled would be a death blow to the WNBA, and Silver knew it. Any new leader who steps in will have 3 urgent mandates. First, fix the officiating immediately. Second, protect and unapologetically market the stars who drive the business. And third, begin the long and difficult process of rebuilding trust with the players who felt betrayed. For now, the rumor itself is a small taste of justice for the fans, especially the dedicated Indiana Fever supporters. They have spent the season watching their superstar get brutalized on the court and their coach get fined for speaking up. The idea that someone is finally being held accountable is a moment of vindication. This entire saga has proven one thing beyond a shadow of a doubt: fan loyalty is to the players, not to the WNBA logo. Fans follow stars, and if the league continues to disrespect its biggest names, the audience will simply follow them wherever they go. The WNBA would be left with nothing. In retrospect, Engelbert's corporate background was always a dangerous mismatch. She was a Deloitte executive who understood balance sheets and profit margins, but she fundamentally lacked a feel for basketball culture. She treated players like assets on a spreadsheet, not as the heart and soul of the league. Whether the rumors are true or not, this entire controversy is an undeniable victory for Caitlyn Clark. It has cemented her status as the most powerful force in women's basketball. Her influence is so immense that the mere possibility of her unhappiness can threaten to bring down a commissioner. So, while the rumor of Cathy Engelbert's firing continues to swirl, remember this: where there is this much smoke, there is always a fire. The WNBA is burning with internal conflict, and the question is no longer if the situation will explode, but when the rest of the world will see the flame.